In a remarkable discovery, historian Gina Matthews has unearthed a hidden prophecy from the ancient civilization of Atlantis. This revelation speaks not of a lost city, but of a timeless message intended for humanity's current era. The Atlanteans, renowned for their advanced knowledge and spiritual insight, foresaw a pivotal moment in our evolution, a cycle where humanity would face profound choices impacting our collective future. Gina's findings invite us to explore this ancient wisdom, offering guidance and hope as we navigate the complexities of our modern world. Atlantis wasn't lost. It was sealed for a future cycle. The common narrative suggests Atlantis vanished beneath the waves, lost to history. However, Gina's research indicates that Atlantis intentionally withdrew its presence, preserving its knowledge for a future epoch. This act wasn't a disappearance, but a strategic safeguarding of wisdom, awaiting a time when humanity would be ready to comprehend and apply it. The Atlanteans anticipated a future cycle where their insights would be crucial for our survival and growth. This perspective shifts our understanding of Atlantis from a sunken myth to a deliberate guardian of ancient wisdom. The civilization's retreat was a conscious decision, ensuring that their teachings would remain intact until humanity reached a level of consciousness capable of integrating them. Gina's discovery suggests that we are now entering that prophesied cycle. The timing aligns with global shifts in awareness, technology, and spirituality, indicating that the Atlantean knowledge is resurfacing precisely when needed. The implications are profound. If Atlantis preserved its wisdom for our era, then we are the intended recipients of this ancient guidance. Our current challenges, environmental crisis, social upheavals, and spiritual disconnection, mirror the conditions that led to Atlantis's withdrawal. By heeding their prophecy, we have the opportunity to avoid repeating history and instead forge a path toward harmony and enlightenment. Gina emphasizes that this is not a call to nostalgia, but an invitation to evolution. Atlantis's legacy is not about recreating the past, but about integrating its wisdom to transform our future. As we embrace this knowledge, we step into our role as co-creators of a new era, fulfilling the destiny envisioned by the Atlanteans millennia ago. The hidden record was timed to resurface now. Gina's discovery reveals that the Atlantean prophecy was not merely a historical document, but a time-activated message. Encoded within its structure are references to celestial alignments and energetic shifts corresponding to our current epoch. This suggests that the prophecy was designed to remain dormant until humanity reached a specific stage in its collective evolution. The timing of its resurfacing is not coincidental but cosmically orchestrated. The alignment of this revelation with contemporary global events is striking. As we face unprecedented challenges and opportunities, the emergence of the Atlantean prophecy provides a roadmap for navigating this transformative period. It offers insights into harmonizing technological advancement with spiritual growth, emphasizing the importance of balance and consciousness in our development. Gina interprets this as a sign that we are entering a critical juncture where ancient wisdom can guide modern progress. The prophecy's activation now serves as a catalyst for awakening. It encourages individuals and societies to reflect on their values, choices, and trajectories. By integrating the lessons of Atlantis, we can address the root causes of our current crisis and foster a more sustainable and enlightened civilization. Gina's work underscores the urgency and relevance of this ancient message in our contemporary context. This convergence of past and present illustrates the cyclical nature of time and consciousness. The Atlanteans anticipated our potential for growth and left behind a legacy to support it. As we decode and apply their teachings, we honor their foresight and fulfill our role in the unfolding evolution of humanity. Crystal temples held prophetic visions of Earth's future. Central to Gina's findings are references to crystal temples in Atlantis, which served as repositories for prophetic visions. These structures harnessed the vibrational frequencies of crystals to access and store information about Earth's future. The Atlanteans used these temples to project potential outcomes based on humanity's choices, creating a dynamic archive of possible futures. This technology reflects a sophisticated understanding of energy, consciousness, and time. The crystal temples functioned as both observatories and sanctuaries. Atlantean seers would enter altered states of consciousness within these spaces, receiving visions that were then encoded into the crystals. These visions encompassed environmental changes, societal shifts, and spiritual awakenings, providing guidance for future generations. Gina's research suggests that these temples were designed to preserve this knowledge until humanity was ready to access and interpret it. The re-emergence of interest in crystals and energy healing in modern times may be linked to this ancient legacy. As people reconnect with these tools, they tap into the same frequencies that the Atlanteans utilized. Gina posits that this resurgence is part of the prophecies unfolding as humanity begins to reclaim and apply the wisdom stored within these crystalline archives. By exploring the functions and significance of the crystal temples, we gain insight into the Atlanteans' holistic approach to knowledge and foresight. Their integration of science, spirituality, and consciousness offers a model for our own development. Gina's work invites us to consider how we might build upon this foundation to create a future that honors both ancient wisdom and modern innovation. Humanity's current cycle mirrors the fall of Atlantis. Gina emphasizes that Atlantis didn't fall because of one catastrophic moment, but through a series of choices that slowly eroded its harmony. Technological advancement outpaced ethical responsibility. The pursuit of power overshadowed the inner teachings. We are now witnessing echoes of that same imbalance in modern society, an over-reliance on intellect without soul. This prophecy doesn't seek to alarm, but to awaken. Gina explains that the Atlanteans foresaw this cycle not to predict doom, but to offer contrast. If we see the mirror clearly, we can shift course. If we refuse, we enter a karmic loop where evolution is delayed by forgetfulness. We are not powerless. Gina believes this cycle presents a unique opportunity to heal what was left incomplete. Atlantis fell not because knowledge was dangerous, but because wisdom was ignored. Now we have the chance to integrate both to re-establish a spiritual foundation strong enough to carry our progress. This moment is sacred. It's not about blaming the past, but using it as a compass. Gina reminds us that every age brings its own Atlantis, its rise and fall, its test of integrity. Ours is unfolding now. And through conscious awareness, we can shape an outcome rooted in wholeness. Atlantis knew technology without spirit would collapse itself. One of the most haunting revelations Gina uncovered in the prophecy is the Atlantean understanding that technology without spiritual anchoring becomes self-destructive. They were not anti-progress. They were warning against separation, advancement that forgets alignment. And in their final days, they saw the cost of misused power. In Atlantis, energy grids powered by crystals could heal or harm, depending on the intention behind them. Gina explains that they encoded this knowledge into their warnings, that every creation must be born of coherence, not control. They foresaw our modern potential and the risk of repeating their imbalance. We live in an era where AI, biotechnology, and digital systems accelerate faster than our ethical development. The prophecy reminds us, it's not the tools that are dangerous, it's the consciousness that wields them. Gina urges us to return to the question, what energy fuels our innovation? This is the deeper lesson of Atlantis. They weren't destroyed by knowledge, they were undone by disconnection. Gina believes the prophecy's wisdom can guide us toward a new model, where science and spirit, intellect and intuition, logic and love walk together. If we learn from them, their fall becomes our rise. The 12 scribes of Atlantis saw beyond linear time. Among Gina's most fascinating discoveries is the mention of the 12 scribes, Atlantean mystics who encoded prophecies into symbolic language. These scribes didn't merely record events, they saw across timelines, mapping potential futures based on energy, intention, and collective vibration. They operated not through clocks or calendars, but through harmonic convergence, reading cycles like music, not math. Gina explains that these scribes saw reality as a waveform, not a straight line. And within those waves, they'd identified junctures, like 2025, where humanity could pivot dramatically forward or backward. Each scribe carried a different frequency of insight, one for technology, one for healing, one for earth changes, one for planetary alignment, and so on. Their collective visions formed the basis of the hidden Atlantean calendar, a tool not to predict events, but to prepare consciousness for possibilities. Gina's work with these scribe texts reveals something extraordinary. They didn't just see our age, they chose to communicate with it. The prophecy was planted in such a way that it would only awaken when our vibration could decode it. That time, according to Gina, is now. The prophecy speaks of a fractured light age. One of the prophecy's most cryptic phrases, according to Gina, is its reference to this period in history as the fractured light age. At first glance, it sounds poetic, but deeper decoding reveals a powerful insight. Light is everywhere, yet divided. Truth exists, but scattered. Awareness rises, but lacks cohesion. This age is marked not by darkness, but by distortion. Information floods us, but wisdom is rare. Technology illuminates our lives, yet numbs our intuition. Gina interprets this as the Atlanteans' warning about an era of half-illumination where awakening begins, but without grounding, it can fracture rather than unify. Fractured light creates spiritual fatigue. Gina describes it as the overstimulation of consciousness. Too many signals, too little integration. The prophecy calls for focused coherence, for light to be harmonized through intention, ritual, and inner alignment. Scattered light dazzles, unified light heals. Gina reminds us that we are the weavers of light. This age is not doomed to fragmentation, but it will remain chaotic until we anchor our energy. The prophecy doesn't call for more light. It calls for integrated light, truth embodied, not just admired. Atlantis didn't disappear, it shifted dimensions. One of the most radical insights Gina has uncovered is that Atlantis was never entirely destroyed. The prophecy describes a withdrawal more than an annihilation, a dimensional shift that concealed the civilization not beneath the oceans, but behind a veil of frequency. This reframes the narrative from loss to transformation. Atlantean wisdom wasn't buried, it was preserved in higher vibrational planes, accessible only to those whose consciousness could match its resonance. Gina shares that this aligns with many mystics' experiences of receiving information from a realm that feels ancient, luminous, and beyond time. It's not imagination, it's interdimensional memory. The prophecy suggests Atlantis lives on in the invisible architecture of Earth, through energy lines, crystal formations, and sacred sites. When we raise our vibration through meditation, purity, or soul-aligned purpose, we temporarily intersect that realm. Gina believes that's why more people are dreaming, remembering, and awakening with Atlantean codes now. We're not waiting for Atlantis to rise from the sea. We're rising into its frequency. Gina emphasizes, it's not a place to find, it's a state to become. And as more of us stabilize in higher awareness, the invisible becomes visible again, not through excavation, but through vibration. Gina's discovery unlocks the map to conscious governance. Embedded within the Atlantean texts is a powerful insight. The civilization once practiced a form of conscious governance, a way of leading that was both energetically attuned and spiritually initiated. Gina reveals that their leaders weren't chosen by wealth or lineage, but by vibrational readiness and clarity of purpose. The prophecy speaks of councils who governed through harmonic principles, where decisions were made in resonance, not rhetoric. Gina found that temples served as spaces of energetic purification, where leaders would realign with planetary rhythms before enacting laws. Leadership was stewardship, measured not in control, but in coherence. This isn't fantasy. Gina points out that our modern institutions are faltering not from lack of intelligence, but from lack of integrity with the soul. The Atlanteans foresaw this and encoded reminders of a system where guidance emerged from inner alignment, not external dominance. Gina believes that elements of this model are returning now through conscious communities, decentralized systems, and spiritually guided leadership. The prophecy doesn't call us to overthrow governments. It calls us to redefine leadership at the energetic level, so that what governs us arises from consciousness, not control. The Atlantean calendar marks this as a turning point. Among the most startling elements of Gina's discovery is a decoded fragment from the Atlantean calendar. It identifies specific windows of transformation, each linked to celestial alignments and collective thresholds. One of those dates? The year 2025. A point marked not as an ending, but a tipping moment. The Atlanteans called it the Great Interval, a window when humanity would be faced with decisions that would ripple into the next 1,000 years. Gina explains that their calendar wasn't just about time. It was about resonance cycles. 2025 matches a vibrational chord first struck during Atlantis' final phase. This means our current moment carries echoes of choices once made, and now offered again. Do we choose unity over fragmentation, soul over systems, presence over performance? Gina says the calendar isn't predicting doom, it's offering course correction, a nudge back toward spiritual coherence. Understanding this calendar reframes our anxiety. Gina reminds us, we're not running out of time, we're entering sacred time, a time chosen by our ancestors and prepared for by our souls. The prophecy doesn't warn us. It invites us into the most conscious cycle yet. The children of the crystal flame are awakening now. The Atlantean prophecy refers to a group of souls known as the children of the crystal flame. Gina uncovered that these are souls who lived in Atlantis or carry its vibrational memory and have reincarnated in this age to help activate the next timeline of humanity. These beings are not marked by appearance, but by frequency. They often feel like old souls in young bodies, highly sensitive, deeply intuitive, and drawn to truth from an early age. Gina believes many of them are awakening now, often with no conscious memory of Atlantis, yet an unmistakable pull toward ancient symbols, crystals, or spiritual service. The prophecy speaks of them as bridges between ages, souls who agreed to return when the planet reached vibrational readiness. They are here to anchor light, restore ancient teachings, and help humanity transition from fear into resonance. Gina encourages those who resonate with this to trust their calling. It is not imagined, it is remembered. These souls may face isolation, doubt, or overwhelm, but Gina reassures, you're not alone. The children of the crystal flame are networked through energy, not proximity. Your task isn't to convince others, it's to become coherent enough that your presence becomes a lighthouse. Your memory is your mission. Earth's magnetic field is responding to ancient design. Gina has uncovered profound references in the prophecy linking Earth's magnetic field to Atlantean architecture. These ancient structures weren't just symbolic, they were tuned into the planet's electromagnetic blueprint. The prophecy suggests that as Earth's magnetism shifts, it activates dormant codes placed thousands of years ago for this exact era. Today, scientists observe the weakening and drifting of Earth's magnetic poles, but Gina explains that the Atlanteans saw this not as chaos, but as signal. These fluctuations were foretold as markers of human consciousness entering a phase of mass recalibration. As within, so without. When collective thought shifts, the field shifts too. Our bodies, especially our nervous systems, are intimately linked with the magnetic field. Gina teaches that many people now experiencing fatigue, dizziness, or strange emotional fluctuations may actually be responding to planetary resonance changes. The field is realigning to support higher awareness, and so are we. This isn't to be feared, it's to be honored. Gina encourages grounding rituals, silence in nature, and attunement with sacred geometry during this time. Earth isn't just hosting us, she's evolving with us. The Atlanteans built their temples to honor this truth. And now we are being called to remember how to live in harmony with the field again. Atlantis called for a brotherhood of inner light. The prophecy includes a vision of a spiritual alliance the Atlanteans called the Brotherhood of Inner Light. Gina explains that this wasn't an exclusive group. It was a conscious frequency carried by beings from many nations, races, and even planetary origins, united by resonance rather than dogma. These individuals were trained in energetic mastery, emotional balance, and truth-speaking. They held different roles: healers, architects, teachers, grid keepers, but their bond wasn't identity. It was alignment. Gina believes the prophecy calls for this brotherhood to reform now, not as an organization, but as a network of lightworkers quietly rising all over the world. This brotherhood was never about saving others. It was about stabilizing the light field of Earth so that humanity could awaken with grace. Gina teaches that if you feel drawn to this concept, if your heart stirs when hearing the words, inner light, you may be one of its returning members. You don't need initiation. You need remembrance. The prophecy is awakening this ancient circle through the ethers of time. Gina reminds us, we find each other by vibration, not location. And when the Brotherhood of Inner Light stands in unity again, whether visible or silent, the timelines will shift toward healing at planetary scale. The prophecy names this age as the Great Rebalancing. One of the central pillars of Gina's discovery is that this current cycle of humanity was named by the Atlanteans as the Great Rebalancing. Not apocalypse, not ascension, rebalancing. This age, they said, would be the one that determines whether we integrate the past or repeat its collapse with new tools. The prophecy speaks of rebalancing not as a moment, but as a movement. It includes the rebalancing of masculine and feminine, mind and body, intellect and intuition, technology and nature. Gina interprets this as a call to return to the center, to live not in extremes, but in harmonic coherence. What we see in our world now, polarization, climate extremes, energetic overwhelm, are signs that the balancing point is approaching. Gina says that this isn't punishment, it's physics. What goes too far in one direction must eventually swing back. The question isn't if we rebalance, it's how consciously we do it. The prophecy reminds us, every rebalancing begins within. The way you hold tension in your body, the way you speak when triggered, the way you care for the earth, all are expressions of this planetary equation. Gina urges us to make this personal. We are not waiting for the world to balance. We are the balance being restored. The fall was a fracture, not a failure. Gina explains that the Atlanteans never viewed their collapse as ultimate failure. In their prophecy, they refer to it as a fracture in the arc of light, a breaking point, yes, but also a necessary split that would one day create an opening for healing to enter. In this way, the fall became a seed for future awakening. This changes everything. If Atlantis didn't fail but fragmented, then our role now is not to avoid collapse, but to mend what was left unfinished. Gina suggests that the pain we carry as a collective, the longing for a golden age, the fear of technological ruin, are echoes of that ancient fracture asking to be resolved. When we see the fall as part of the design, not punishment, but contrast, we stop blaming history and start activating the healing of timelines. Gina teaches that forgiveness, toward our ancestors, our leaders, and ourselves, is one of the most potent keys to timeline restoration. Water holds the memory of the Atlantean code. Gina uncovered that water played a sacred role in Atlantean prophecy, not just as a life force, but as a carrier of memory and multidimensional intelligence. The texts speak of water as a living library, capable of storing light codes, frequencies, and even soul impressions. This wasn't metaphor. It was quantum awareness. According to the prophecy, the oceans hold vibrational imprints from Atlantis. As Earth's resonance rises, so too does the intelligence within water begin to activate. Gina notes that many people now report vivid dreams near bodies of water, spontaneous emotional releases when bathing, or downloads of insight while walking by the sea. These aren't random, they are echoes. Atlantean priests and priestesses once encoded sacred knowledge into water through rituals, sound frequencies, and crystal harmonics. Gina believes that as our bodies, composed mostly of water, come into higher coherence, these codes are unlocking within us. The water remembers. And now, so do we. The soul technology of Atlantis is being reactivated. The Atlantean prophecy describes a powerful turning point in human evolution when the world would begin to rediscover a form of inner technology so advanced it would seem miraculous by modern standards. Gina reveals that this soul technology is not external, it is encoded within human consciousness itself. This includes telepathy, energetic healing, light-based memory, and time-folding abilities. Gina points out that many people are already experiencing flashes of this: precognitive dreams, spontaneous empathy, intuitive downloads, even multidimensional memory. These aren't anomalies. They are the first signs of reactivation. The prophecy said that when enough humans awakened to their multidimensional nature, the inner grid of Atlantis would become active again. Not through machines, but through embodied light consciousness. Gina emphasizes that meditation, breathwork, and emotional coherence aren't just spiritual tools, they are user interfaces for the soul's tech. Humanity has reached the tipping ring of the prophecy. In one of the most poignant parts of the prophecy, the Atlanteans spoke of a moment they called the tipping ring. Gina explains that this phrase referred to a planetary vibrational threshold when humanity would be close enough to awakening that even small acts could tip the balance of destiny. We are at that threshold now. The tipping ring isn't dramatic. It's delicate. It responds not to loud declarations, but to subtle shifts. A single healed wound, a single forgiven memory, a choice to speak truth with love. Gina says this is how timelines diverge, not by force, but by frequency. This prophecy isn't about fate. It's about responsibility. Each of us is part of the ring. Each decision either strengthens coherence or delays it. Gina emphasizes that your presence, your clarity, your alignment, it matters more than ever. because the tipping ring amplifies every vibration, and you are a node in that sacred network. The Atlanteans did not die out. They evolved forward in time. And now, through us, their dream of a luminous Earth breathes again. Gina closes this revelation with a simple truth. The future is not written, but it is being whispered. And we, the listeners, are now the authors of what comes next.